Welcome to the Sedona Soul Sisters show, down-to-earth discussions on spirituality, metaphysics, paranormal, and healing topics. The Sedona Soul Sisters are the most trusted psychic mediums and healers in Sedona, Arizona. We are Rosalind Reynolds, myself, Ivory Lanou, Terri-ann Russell, who'll be joining us shortly, Maggie Anderson, and Joe Modica, who's still trying to get into the room. It can be tricky the first time. We have offices in Sedona, Arizona, where we see clients from all over the world. Today's topic is modern shamanism. So that's going to be fun. You know, I think people have a lot of preconceived notions, and it's usually based on movies, movies and things they've heard about. But maybe if they've never known a shaman or never needed the services of a shaman, they have no idea. And Maggie, who just joined our practice, like that's something she really focuses on. So Maggie, I'd like to start with you. Like, how do you see yourself? Like, what is your role as a shaman in today's world?
Interesting. Just throwing me right in there. No.
I do. I'm like that.
No, that's good. No, that's good. It's an interesting topic because I'm a very eclectic person. You take your truths from all different kinds of traditions and cultures that resonate with you as a soul at the soul level. I mean, and in ancient times, like a shaman is someone who experiences non-ordinary reality and is able to cross that veil and do those non-ordinary things where they're able to help you come to balance, and they're usually more in tune with nature, animals, and the like. And I know, like with all traditions and cultures, something like that does evolve. And at least for me, I've just evolved from, and I have to say, like shamanism and witch is tomato. They're different traditions that do the same thing, just like in the church, right? Because they all have ritual and ceremony, and they all have sacred times that they will come together, and they all do like something that is in tune with that higher power. A shaman is said to be that someone who's able to cross that veil and tune into the higher realities, the higher dimensions per se. So like I take a lot of practices in what I do. Something that really opened me up even more to what I was already doing to shamanism is the Mune key rites. And Mune is love, key is energy. And the Mune key rites is a Peruvian tradition of shamanic methods. And, and with that, you are given 9 rites, 9 awakening rites that come from Dr. Alberto Villoldo, the person who traveled with the shaman and the Kero back long ago, and now he still shares these Mune key rites with us now, and brought to us what he feels are the most powerful rites. They're very ancient and beautiful, and they help really initiate you into shamanism. Like in ancient times, the way they would see a shaman is if you got struck by lightning, or if there were other like signs that now it's not as possible with the striking, getting struck by lightning. So other signs.
Maggie, something you said really caught my ear early on. You're talking about able to kind of go to these places most people can't. That sounds a lot like being a mystic.
Right? Yes.
Which all of us, the ladies.
All of us are.
No, we are like very strong mystics, the four ladies. And I don't know about Joe yet. He'll have to tell us about that. But I didn't realize that had that in common with shamanism.
Very much so. Yeah. Like they're able to tune into someone, like, let's say it's a healing, right? Someone comes to you and I'm hurting, and heal this, either emotional issue, physical issue, whatever the issue is. And they'll come and they'll be able to tune in to higher realities within the body, mind, soul, go into other dimensions that take it to a higher frequency in order to extract what's ailing them to a point, because we know the person who is actually doing the healing themselves and allowing as much as they can in a session. And what they are is a channel for the energy coming in, right? We're not the healers, we're just the channel for the energy that flows in to send that energy, healing, light codes, whatever, to the person that they need. And shaman are very common to do what Vogels do, crystal Vogels, extract what's, whatever negative energy, lower vibrational energy, whatever icky energy that is in there, to assist this person to come to healing and see maybe the location, my dog says hi, maybe the location of what's happening, and kind of tune in a little more and find out what's happening, like chakras, the aura, the energy body, that kind of thing. I'm gonna actually mute and go shut my window real fast.
Okay. While she's doing that, let me take my little hand thing down here. I don't need to wait. I just want to talk about this whole thing of clients coming to a shaman like they're seeking the intangible. And I know we all experience that in our work, but I got that when I read that part. And it's a connection that will take them deeper into their relationship with themselves and spirit. So I thought that was cool. And one other thing I know from talking to shaman who've helped me and my daughter is the importance of singing, how crucial that is to the shamanic practice. Do you want to talk about that, Maggie?
Oh, sure. I know that with shamanism, and like even in Hindu tradition, right? We chant, we do mantras, and tuning into your vocal cords, it's your sound current, it's sacred. Using that brings not only yourself and your body, mind, and soul into a higher vibration, anyone around you can experience that too. And the more you tune in to your sound current, you may be doing toning, a very angelic kind of vibration that comes in. You may be utilizing sound in other ways, like my quartz singing bowls, tuning forks, whatever you're going to work with, bells. But the sound current is very powerful. And I remember just practicing myself. I was just going to sleep one night and I had a headache forming, and I was like, no, I'm too tired to get up and get aspirin or Advil or whatever. So I started to tone and my headache went away right away. So there's power in the voice in that realm, but it also takes you to higher realms. Like when you chant, like the Hindu chants, my favorite one to mention is Lord Ganesha's chant from the Hindu tradition, which is Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. And you get your mala beads, your 108 mala beads, right? Because in the Hindu tradition, it said that you have 108 energy centers. And as you chant, you get into all the pockets in your body, and then you're healed or intended for whatever the chant is. Like Lord Ganesha is remover of obstacles. So you chant Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha, or you do the seed mantra, which is just one word for Lord Ganesha, which is gum. And you can just do it 108 times, gum, gum, gum. And it heals at that higher level, but it also takes you, it's like gets you into like a trance state.
I'm very familiar with that trance state. And I was going to tell you something. It was making me think about this. Like, I've been a professional singer for a long time, and I sang with a Celtic band, and we were performing in Vegas, and I was singing a song on stage, and I looked out, and almost everybody in this big audience had their eyes closed, and they were doing this. They were sort of like this. And I was like, God, I hope that's a good thing. I don't know what that's about. And afterwards, they're like, I just feel so much better after I hear you sing. I just feel like there's vibrations going all through my body. And I think that was my first awareness of the healing of the singing voice. And my angels had told me a long time ago, like, when you speak, you are healing. And I thought that was interesting. So this is sort of something that's been made very aware to me. So I was reading something about this, that it's really a prayer that's being sung. And I think that's so beautiful. And it's the intention behind the song more than it is about having a perfect singing voice or being perfectly on pitch or anything like that. So what kind of intention would you have as you did that work, or does it change person to person?
Me? Okay, so I just want to make sure. When people come to me, they come in with their own personal intentions. The soul always knows the truth, right, of what they really need to heal. Of course, there are some things that people refuse to see or refuse to work on or don't know because it's so subconscious. So that's what we do, right? As healers, we tune into the frequency and vibration that's around them, see what actually comes up, and assist them in either removing, extracting something, helping them align their path to self-love, right? Because everyone's seeking love is truly seeking love within themselves first. Like you align to whatever the energies are in the moment, and then you just tune in and go.
There you go. I know the shaman that helped me survive my experience at my house in Sedona, so I didn't die there, along with Roz and other people. They were the first ones who told me that the main role of a shaman is to remove dark entities out of people or out of land, or to hold them down so that they can't hurt the people living in the home or on the land. I never knew that. So I know that there's quite a few shamans who consider that to be the primary role that they have as a shaman. And what they did from a distance. And I understood that because of the demonic presence that was on the land that my house was on. Well, of course, they didn't want to go there. I didn't want to live there either. I certainly wouldn't want to go there. But what they did was, it was her and her Native American mentor who worked from a distance to hold that down, to like push that evil down, so I could get a little bit of health back to start moving forward towards getting the heck out of that house and moving to a safe place, which I'm in now, very neutral place. But it made all the difference. Like that was, we did everything we could that Roz and I knew, and called other people in, but really the shaman is really what was the turning point for getting me out of there, helping me start to heal again. Anybody else have experiences with shaman? You are so lucky, let me say. Not that you don't want to have experiences with shaman, just you don't want to have that experience with a shaman. I would not wish that on anybody. Oh, my daughter also has ongoing experience with one in the Chicago area who's really good. They were living in a house where there was a demonic presence, and I saw it multiple times. It pushed me down the stairs multiple times. It almost killed my daughter doing the same thing. Roz would see it from a distance. It was a nasty, nasty thing. And that shaman would come over and do work to remove that, to push that one down and remove any entities attaching to the family. And even after they moved, that thing was still after them. Have you ever encountered anything like that, Maggie?
No.
I hope you never do.
No, actually, I was a while ago, like almost 2 decades ago, I was going to be invited into a group that does, removing entities that are maybe considered more malicious, but help them cross over. And I was going to join, and one of the gals was talking to me and said, my grandmother was there and my grandmother doesn't want me to do that. And I was like, well, it's not her choice. But it wasn't my time to go full on into that at that moment, because I still had some growth that maybe I didn't even know about. So I am glad. But yes, like shaman will help, like beings cross over. Demons are like a whole ball of wax right there. Let's send them some extra love. But because love is the highest vibration. But like shaman will be the rainbow bridge for the ghost or entity or someone who's, they'll be the column of light that sends them on up. I was just telling someone, I have a friend who is also called to do that kind of work, and she is not comfortable with them going through her column of light. So she said, I'm going to set up a portal right here next to me. And that's where I tell them to go. I'm like, you go there and up, you go there. And not for me. So like everyone's different, and like you find your way and your truth and what works for you in all of the different methods, from shamanic to all of the traditions out there. It's beautiful.
I want to take a quick moment here, a break here, because Joe was having trouble getting into the room, but I want to introduce Joe Modica to you. He's also joined Sedona Soul Sisters. So he's a soul brother. Another brave soul brother amongst the sisters. So welcome, Joe. So glad you were able to get in. You're gonna hear more about Joe next week. Maggie, what do you think is the most important thing people know about shamanism?
it is evolving. And I would say, like, if you're drawn and called to it, you will get there. Most often, if you refuse to follow like a shamanic path or another type of path along those lines, um, you might get an illness or something chronic until you start to face it, because maybe the doctors can't do anything about it, quote unquote, right? But it's because you were meant to find the healer's path and work on that within yourself, and then work on that with other people. Something to note is everyone's awakening and ascending now. The most important thing is, like, everyone's coming to this. Everyone's saying, my third eye, this, or I saw this, or I felt this. And everyone says gut instinct, and it's your intuition, it's your psychic abilities. And everyone is awakening to that even more. And if you decide to go see a shaman or someone who practices shamanic methods, then they can assist you with that. They can assist you in awakening, and they can also just assist you with like whatever your, main intention is in that moment. Very interesting. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, yes, we were just talking about that on a recent show, how millions of people around the world abandoning their career because they don't feel any passion for it. They think they want to do something more meaningful. That is the most hopeful sign I've seen in years, that we are on a massive planetary wide enlightenment path, a huge shift forward. So I totally agree with that, Maggie. Oh my gosh, absolutely. And we're seeing a lot of that, more and more clients coming in. We've always had a lot of them, people like, I know I'm supposed to do something. I know I have a mission or a life purpose. That has exploded. I would say since COVID started, really. So I still say COVID was a catalyst, as many seemingly negative things are. I mean, certainly it's been negative for a lot of people, no doubt about that, but it's also had a purpose.
Definitely.
What kind of reasons would a client come to a shaman other than what you just mentioned?
For healing, you name it, they can come. But of course, it's for healing. A lot of people are coming because they're lost and they don't know what's happening, and they've lost hope in any of the other avenues that normal Muggle people would go to. Right. And the best thing, like, right, to come for clarity and peace and harmony, healing, and of course to help with any, entity issues. And that's like witch, shaman, starseed, psychic, mystic, any of them are going to be in those higher realms, right? They're all basically just different ways of doing the same similar thing, of getting into those higher vibrations, tuning into the source and allowing source to like clear out what's no longer truth, no longer real true, and come into like a more healed, harmonious state of being. Chakra balancing or cleansing, all those good things are common things to come to healers for, mystics and all the wonderful beings.
Oh, that's good, because I'm seeing more and more people who have serious needs of chakra balancing, sometimes more than I want to get involved in. So be sending them your way.
I'm open. Room is all set up. Woohoo!
Tell us about some experiences you've had as a shaman, like that really stand out for you. She's thinking.
When I assumed you were asking me. I'm sorry. I shouldn't assume.
I was.
Oh, good. So yeah, the one cool thing. I started my path. I was just not like, we weren't taught about this. I didn't really know anything about this path until like I was into paranormal books and those cool, ones in high school and all of that. So I had like that drive and passion towards that, but I didn't know anything about like, oh, career path and this is what I should do for a living. But so I went into Reiki 1, and then I just shot from there, all the Reikis, Reiki Master, Karuna Reiki, Magnified Healing, IET for the angels, of course. And then Mune Ki. Mune Ki for me was just a game changer. It truly, you tune into this higher vibration of the luminous ones, the luminaries who have transcended time and space. And they assist you. You tune into that frequency and vibration as well in order to assist yourself, right? And rise. And there seems to be like this truly powerful alignment to your truth, whatever your soul is meant to be doing and having. And during one of like my Moon key rites or healings, there was someone who came in who came of like the true shamanic traditions, grew up in the culture and had all the things, but she was nervous having a session with me because she knew at my soul level, like there was more to it than just my skin. And there was more to it. I've done the work. There's more to it in my soul and other lives or whatever. But I was able to come to a frequency and vibration that she resonated with. And then she saw me as a shaman. So for me, that was interesting. I was like, oh, okay. Because I am all the things, including that, right? We all take that. Those are unique paths.
We don't really see who we are as well as other people do. We need that kind of outside eye to wake us up to that. I had that too with the angelic work. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Like I knew I had that connection. It just never ever occurred to me that I could do that professionally, that even existed. Oh, Maggie, I wanted to talk about how I meant to bring this up early, but most people, when they think about shamanism, they're connecting that with Native American cultures or other native cultures like Peruvian, places of that sort. But the modern shamanism may not be connected to that at all. And so what do you think about that?
Well, it is interesting because I wasn't born into one of those cultures. I didn't train officially for long-term just that. I took my truths from different traditions, and I love the medicine wheel of the Native American traditions. I follow that. That's how I start in the East. I call in the medicine wheel, sacred protection, white sage. I do all the things. And I love the Peruvian traditions of shamanism as well. And of course, that's where Moon Key came from. Modern. So modern, right? It's an eclectic approach of being open and ascending. And right, to put it wicked tiny and tiny little explanation, right, is everyone's ascending and we're all opening up to the higher realms, the higher realities, and those non-ordinary realities that shaman are very used to traversing. And for us, right, shaman do this, witches. Shaman used to be called witch doctors. So they tend to take a synonymous approach, right? They have different ways of opening sacred circle, but they do it. And the sacred mystics and the starseeds and the empaths, we all have our way of tuning in where we love crystals, right? How many different traditions are aligned with crystals, right? But modern, right? We're tuning into the vibration and frequency that resonates with us now. And everything has an evolution. So we're just evolving into something that the ancient shamans have known all along, being closer to earth, closer to the stars, because in shamanism, you honor the earth, but you also honor the stars, the star beings. So we're all tuning into coming to those kinds of truths too. I don't know if that answered your question at all.
It does, because that's exactly it. I think it's very valid that you don't have to be Native American or Peruvian or have studied directly with someone who's considered a shaman in those cultures to be a shaman. And I really do get it that a lot of times it's who you are at your soul level, and probably it has a lot to do with past lives as well, and the accumulated wisdom that we bring forward into this lifetime and waking up to that.
I was just going to say that, right? Past lives, it has a lot to do with. A lot of times we don't know as this lifetime what it is that we're drawn to it, but we don't know why. And so we may not be Native American or Peruvian, right? But we're drawn to that type of work. So when you look at the past lives, a lot of times it comes up that we've been medicine women, that we've been shamans, that we've been healers. And so that all ties into now in this lifetime. How are we bringing that all together, and what do we want to become?
Terri-ann, can you bump your volume up? I can barely hear you.
You missed that. Can you hear me now?
Much better. So talk loudly too, but we did hear it, but I'll bump up the volume in the edit, but it's very low. Joe, I want to tell you, do you know how to raise your hand? So if you want to ask a question, you can do that, or under reactions at the bottom, you can click on that and click on raise your hand. Either way, we'll recognize what you're doing if you want to say something or ask something. I like that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's very soft.
Okay.
Sometimes you got to speak pretty loudly if you don't have a professional microphone. If you're just using the mic built into your laptop, it'll be really quiet. So I was looking up something last night, Maggie, and I love looking up our topics. If it's not something I offer, I like to look up and just kind of see some directions I might want to take the show. And one thing I was looking at is what's involved in shamanic training, and it's pretty extensive. Did you go through anything like that in any way, or did you just sort of accumulate your knowledge through the years?
Yes and yes. Of course, through Modica, you're trained with certain shamanic practices, but you are not, in the tradition of shamanism. You're not a shaman. You're not being made a shaman. So Dr. Alberto Villoldo makes that quite clear. Just to say you're not a shaman, but you're receiving these rites, but you're attuning to the higher vibrations that the shaman go into, right? And you're being initiated in that way. And then also some other teachers I've learned from different shamanic practices, creating mesa, and that's just like another form of like an altar. But then they have different practices they do with the mesa. And I'm obsessed with chumpy stones, and that's a very common thing that you'll find like in Peruvian shamanism, right? Have you guys heard of chumpy stones? Roz, I know you love crystals. I think if you don't know what they are, you should.
No, I've heard someone mention it, but you know how I stay in my own little world. So I'd love to learn more.
They're amazing. Let me go get one just so I can visuals, right? I'll go get one.
Absolutely. Visuals are good. And now that this show, it's so funny because we've always had this show on YouTube, but most people are listening. So most people are going to hear this show on a podcast, Maggie. So be sure you describe what it looks like too. I've had people say, I can't tell what you're doing.
Right. You'll find them on, oh my gosh, Google all the time. Google whatever your search engine is. But chumpy stones, right? These are amazing. And the most common ones began by being created out of alabaster. And this is alabaster. And then also the black meteorite. The black meteorite, though, they can't put the archetypes on the black meteorite, but they can put it on alabaster. And now you'll see them in other stones like jade, rose quartz. But like you'll have, these are the higher vibing ones. I don't even know.
Can you spell the name of those, Maggie?
Yes. So chumpy stones, CHUMPI, they all have points on them and different numbered points. They align to your 7 chakras. So I have I have the 7 chakra set or the 12 chakra set because of the higher chakras. And I think this is along the lines of like 8 or 9 points. So you'll count the points and say, oh, that's for that chakra. And so they align to your chakras, and they are also of the 7 Apus, the 7 grandfather mountains in Peru. So what a shaman will do is go, like whoever is drawn to be the maker of these, they will make these and go into trance. They will go into trance, and it'll take them 2 weeks to make one set. And they know energetically, signature wise, who it's going to. So where this might be a crown chakra, and it might have a snake archetype on it. And then like a root chakra one might have the cougar on it, but someone else will get a set and the cougar shows up on the heart chakra. So it's going to be like unique in that sense with the archetypes that are carved in, but they carve the points, they carve in the archetypes. This is a higher chakra one. So it's showing a symbol that I have no idea what it is. It's just like circles. It's like light codes, right? But I have like the spiral that's similar to Chokore and Reiki, but it's just a spiral, like the labyrinth, right? And you can even derive your own meaning from the archetypes when they show up, or you can look them up. But what's really cool is in ancient times too, the shaman would administer rites using the chumpy stone. And they, especially the bands of power rite, which is the second of the moon and key rites, where you're bringing it around each chakra and you're embedding earth, water, fire, air, and spirit into the aura system so that they can be protected and connected and have a way to release the gunk in their auric fields, right? The psychic sludge that has built up. Moon and key rites are so good for that. I just want to get me on crystals and stones and I can go on forever.
You and Roz. I've never seen that or heard those before. That is very interesting. And I recognize some of those symbols.
You're going to love this. I love Chant. I have a few sets. So I was setting up the set to do like a quick mini live on my Facebook page, and my kitty, Ralphie, obsessed with chumpy stones. Every time I break them out, he comes up, curls up next to them, and he cozies up. If you put chumpy stones in a circle, they make a sacred container. I'm just like, he must just feel that energy. And they're very healing. It can extract stuff from you, and just good stuff.
Where can you get those, Maggie?
There are a few legit sources that I like, and then you can decide who rings true to you. Sage Goddess and shamansmarket.com. So sagegoddess.com or shamansmarket.com are two good websites that I feel resonate with truth and getting it from an authentic source. So like Sage Goddess likes to work with one family so that she knows when they buy the chumpy stones from her, the whole family is being supported when you purchase, which is really cool.
My daughter's training to be a shaman, and the shaman who's been helping her family for the last 5 years is kind of taking her under his wing, and she's doing it as she can, but she's a natural at this as well. It's just natural for her. So I think she might really like that. I think that would really be good.
Did you say she's in Chicago?
She's in the Chicago area. Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. Is she local with her shaman? Are they?
Yes.
Oh, that's so nice. It's nice when it can be in person.
He's been to her house numerous times and then done some distance work, but he comes over, and he was somebody that her husband's business associate had used, which is really interesting because this associate is not the kind of person you think would be using a shaman. So he must have got to a pretty desperate state, but it was so helpful for him. And so then he referred Ed, my son-in-law, to this guy, and he's been helping them so beautifully for, about 5.5 years now. Thank God. Thank you for this shaman. Welcome back, Joe.
Joe's having technology adventures with the Zoom, like I usually do.
Welcome to the crowd.
I suddenly, while you were talking about those stones, Maggie, I had this like vision, and I just saw them lined up and going out through eternity, like spaceships or something. It was a trip. I was like, whoa, woohoo.
That's awesome.
Actually, when you were talking about those, I was thinking about that would be pretty cool to have a few of those in my office with me when I'm doing mediumship, because I like the most powerful circle of protection possible. And of course, I call in the archangels, I bring in circles of angels, but I'm up for always increasing the protection around particularly for mediumship or angelic mediumship, whichever, spirit or angelic. That's cool. I'm glad you shared that with us. So one thing you mentioned to me was soul retrieval. Can you talk about that?
Me? I don't remember saying that.
Here who does shamanic practice.
We're in this like like time and space is of no essence in my memory. Oh my goodness. So yes, soul retrieval. Our soul, and here's what I have come to know in this now moment, right? As we evolve, our soul is not fragmented as we are told so often, some other realm or something. Maybe it's like in a realm, right? But it's still a part of you. You're here. It's it's just re-revealing it. It's doing, soul retrieval is a lot like shadow work, right? And we need to capture a piece of our soul that often what happens is a traumatic event happens and we have the choice to either heal or or repress. So then we repress, especially if we're a kid and something traumatic happens and we're not given the proper tools to like heal it and work through it. We're like, no, that's going down there. That's going to go in the buried deep location. And it's revealing it and bringing it back. So and healing from that traumatic event. So it helps to have a healer of some sort to guide you there. If it's so subconscious that even you're like, I don't know why, but this pattern keeps happening and I need to be done with this pattern. So let's work on that. And then you work together either through like hypnosis, meditation type soul journey. A shaman will go with you on the journey and travel into those worlds with you. And then you will tune into where the pieces of the soul is. As you're in there, things will pop up and you will be able to start to see what happened, or you might already know, it depends. But if you don't know, like you'll get to know more of what happened. We don't always need to know all the details, but we know enough to heal it and extract it and recover whatever piece of us, basically reveal the golden shadow to ourselves, right? Where a shadow we heal reveals the gift that was behind it that you've repressed, that piece of your soul that you didn't know was there, or that you were like, nope, I don't see it's not there. But so a soul retrieval will bring it back to you in quotes, but it will just reveal to you your wholeness, and then you start to feel a little more clear about your path, about your life.
The other thing I know you mentioned to us, and I was looking at your website, of course, I told you about that, and you had a lot in there about drumming. And so let's talk about how drumming fits in, because it's an ancient part of shamanism that's also part of the modern world of shamanism.
Drumming is so healing. So there is and it's been measured, the healing benefits of drum, a constant beat, to the road to healing for someone, and its sound, and any sound, right, that you work with, bell, quartz, drum, it breaks up heavy stagnant energy and it starts to bring it back to harmony. And the drum is like the heart of the drum, they say, right? It tunes into that heart chakra opening too. My husband's a drummer, but he does it as with a band, as well as with his djembe and healing drum. We eloped off Schnebly Hill Road, red rocks everywhere, sunset, moon rising, and he was hand drumming it as a part of our ceremony. It was amazing, but it's so healing. People, when I go into sound journey with people and do the drum or into a healing session, it's just a part that they're like, when you started drumming, I was able to just go to this place, and it's just powerful.
I totally am with you. I'm a big, longtime fan of drum circles. Love them. Joe, I know you're not a shaman, but Roz and I always talk about you as shaman energy, but that's not the point. The point is you do drumming too. And you talk about this in your information about that healing power of drumming. Do you want to add to that at all?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The drumming, I mean, how do I explain it? I just do it. But my first experience with drumming actually was Reiki drumming, which was back in 2009 when I first came to Sedona. And that was my first experience with it. And then when I got to Sedona in 2012, I would go to Cathedral Rock and listen to what's his name? Three Trees. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Anyway, I would go to Cathedral. I would go to Cathedral Rock and go to the drumming circles of the rock. Okay, like the full moons, that kind of stuff. So the drumming, yes, it's Mother Earth. It's the beat of Mother Earth. It's just the heart of the earth. It's who she is. You connect with it, and and the synchron, and what do you call when you're in entrainment, when you're in a group of people, and everybody's like all over the place. There's beats here, beats there. Then eventually people just start to get together that entrainment, and they start to, it's amazing because they just get that beat, you know, and they feel it as it runs through you. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but when I do the drumming, I was lucky enough to have a elk skin and buffalo skin drums made for me by a Lakota lady out in Montana. And it's they're very powerful, the skins, these drums. And am I answering your question? Because I'm all over the place.
That's all. I just wanted you to get a chance to talk about your drumming, but I think there's just so many different ways this can come into play. And we're almost out of time, but I want to say, like, when I go to the drum circles that I've been to, we will typically drum for sometimes 45 minutes to an hour, and the beat sort of evolves and we get into this trance state, and we're not trying to, you just do.
It just happens.
Yeah, you just do. And I find it just, my hands get sore, and sometimes I don't realize till we take a break. We just suddenly collectively go, time for a break. But I miss that very much. That was actually at the Renaissance events I went to for many, many, many years. And there's a great drum circle in Cottonwood that meets, that's super good too. But I know I always wanted to go to that one that's up on Cathedral, but I found out about it when I was living in the house with issues, and they had attacked my back, and then I couldn't do any kind of hiking of any sort for a long time. But I want to invite everybody to please visit SedonaSoulSisters.com and check out Maggie and Joe, because they are new. See all the different services that they offer, get to know them, who they are a bit. You're gonna get to know them a lot better, because they're going to be on the show from now forward. So we're so glad to have you here with us. Really looking forward to that. If you have questions or comments, you can always email it to us. That email is in the show description. We'll be happy to answer your questions at any time. You've been watching the Sedona Soul Sisters show. If you'd like more information about us or our services, you know how to find us, SedonaSoulSisters.com. Tune in next week when our topic is how experiences launch your mission. I think that's going to be a really interesting topic. We've touched it before. We're going to go deeper this time. In the meantime, have an enlightening week.